I'm trying to simulate kind of a sealed kicker army build where you get 3 kicker packs for each race. In this case, 3 kicker packs for core elves, and another player would get 3 kicker packs for lava elves to build a 30-point army out of. So the kicker pack has 1 monster, 1 rare, 2 uncommons, and 4 commons, which are worth 4 points, 3 points, 2 points, and 1 point each. So altogether in 3 kicker packs, we have 45 points worth of units, and we're building a 30-point army. Well, just to recap, since I apparently did not record this, I'm going to try and teach the basic rules of Dragon Dice, the 4.0 rules, and then do more of an army build, mock battle with a second army. So just to quickly build an army, I'm going to just take off 1 kicker's worth of units off the side. So this builds our 30-point army. Whether it's a sealed tournament or a constructed tournament, the army building happens before you play. You agree on how many health or how many points you want your armies to be worth. So in this case, it's a 30-point battle. For every 24 points of army, you get to bring 1 dragon with you. It's rounded up, so for 30 points, we'll get 2 dragons per army. Coral elves are made up of blue and green, so they cast blue magic and green magic to bring blue and or green dragons. I'm going to give them 2 blue dragons. Lava elves are red and black, so they would use red or black dragons. I'm going to give them 2 red dragons for this match. And then you always bring 2 terrain with you. I can talk more about why later, but lava elves are best at highland terrains, and coral elves are best at coastland terrains. And there's also 4 basic types of terrains you can get. You can get cities, temples, towers, and standing stones. And just a quick overview of the differences in them. Standing stones help you cast more variety of magic. Towers let you shoot enemies further away. Temples protect your armies from black magic. And cities allow your units to promote or recruit more units. So this will be the setup I'll choose for these 2 armies. The dragons go straight into the summoning pool. During the game, you can summon any player's dragons. So if I was somehow able to cast red magic as the coral elf army, I'd be able to summon the red dragons. It's just a point to be aware of. At the start of the game, you'll divide your, you'll choose a terrain to have at your home terrain, and the terrain to have at your campaign terrain. And then you will split your units up into 3 separate armies. There must be at least 1 health point at each terrain, or at each of the 3 armies, and no more than half of your health at any given army. So I can't have more than 15 health in my horde army, for example. One thing you'll commonly see is players grouping up into 2 focused armies, because during the game you get 2 marches per turn. So this gets the most use of your dice, leaving only 1 unit behind that's not being used. And then strategically, you'd also take into account what type of dice you're using. Do I want to group my magic users together, my melee users together? I'm skipping over most of the strategy for now to go over the rules. So we will separate out the Lava Elf units. And despite what I said about strategy, they're going to split up into 3 separate groups. You're going to see that there are 2 terrains here at the frontier terrain where the campaign armies are. We're going to be, at the start of the game, deciding which of these terrains we're going to use. To start, each side rolls their horde army for maneuvers to see who goes first. So anything that produces maneuver results is what we would count. In this case, Fly is an SAI that a lot of units have that counts as maneuvers or saves. So since we're rolling for maneuvers, we will get 3 maneuver results for the Coral Elves. And for the Lava Elves, both monsters rolled a maneuver. Now, even though there's only 1 icon on the monster die, it's pretty much for space purposes. All icons on the monster die counts as 4 results. So this is 8 maneuver results for the Lava Elves. 8 is more than 3, so Lava Elves win the Horde roll. They get to choose to either pick the terrain at the frontier or to go first. Now, one thing I'll get to in a moment is Coral Elves and Lava Elves have a lot of affinity for their terrain. So Lava Elves are probably going to choose to keep their terrain as the home terrain. If they like what the Coral Elves brought, they could still choose it. But in this case, they're going to stick with the terrain they brought. Now I'm going to bring up their racial abilities, which I haven't covered yet, which will also explain why that is advantageous for them. So give me just a moment to bring that up. Here we go. So Coral Elves, up at top they have Coastal Dodge. Basically, if they're at a terrain that has the green element, their maneuver results count as saves. And then Lava Elves have a similar ability. Here it is, Volcanic Adaptation. When they're at a terrain with the red element, they count maneuver results as save results. And Coral Elves and Lava Elves don't have a lot of save results on their own, so this is a very important advantage for them to have. So after they've chosen their terrain, then we would need to roll each of these dice to determine their starting values. These terrain start, or they go from 1 all the way up to 8, counting up. And as it represents distance from the goal you're trying to achieve. So when you're really far away, the armies are not seeing each other. So pretty much all you can do is cast magic. The icon dictates what you can do with this terrain. As the armies get closer, they can start being within firing range of each other, and the actions they take is missile attacks. As the armies get closer still, soon they'll be in confrontation with each other, they'll be within melee range, and they'll be fighting with melee. And you can kind of envision, if you're taking a sword to the face, it's pretty hard to shoot the enemy. So that's why, kind of thematically, why your abilities are dictated by the icon on the die. Whichever army turns this to the 8th face controls it. At the 8th phase, you get to choose between melee, missile attack, or magic, whereas the other army can only do a melee attack against you. And the goal of the game is to control 2 of these terrains at the 8th phase, Doing that, you win the game immediately. The only other way to win is to eliminate all of your opponent's units. So we'll roll all of these to get the starting values. If you roll an 8, you need to re-roll the die. And if you roll a 7, you turn the 7 down to a 6. So you can never have a die starting above 6. Now, since the Lava Elves pick the terrain, the Coral Elves will be first to take their turn. So looking at what we have here, we're pretty far away from any sort of control of the terrain. So, trying to think ahead. Coral Elves have a few magic units, so we might want to keep this on magic. So let's try and we'll take 2 marches in our turn. A march is composed of a maneuver and an action. Both are optional, and both marches are optional. So this army is going to try and march this terrain. I don't have to say if I'm going up or down. I just have to say I'm marching at this terrain. The opposing army can choose to allow it or contest. So I'm going to say I'm going to move this terrain. They might think I'm moving it up, and they might like that, so they're going to allow me to do that. But I'm actually going to choose to go down, try and keep it on magic. And I'm going to roll my Coral Elves, try and cast some magic spells. And looking at what I have here, sorry, I'm trying to bring the racial sheet up again and having some difficulty. So there's a few things I want to show here. First, I rolled a fairy result, which you can see towards the bottom on the left. This is a special icon. During any non-maneuver roll, this unit may move itself and up to 4 health worth of units in its army to any terrain. Now, if I move any of my armies that rolled magic, so say I were to take this monster away, I would not be able to count its results in my magic results. I do want the fairy, though, so I'm going to take these other 4 health worth of units that did not roll any icons, and I'm going to move them over to this army here in the middle so that I can use them on my next march. Now here I've got 4 magic and an ID icon. ID icons are basically like wildcards. However much health your unit is worth, this unit is 3 health, it's 3 points of whatever I'm rolling for. So 4 and 3 is 7 magic. And we can look up a little bit to look at some of the Coral Elf spells. But I think the one I want to bring out with 7 magic is Summon Dragon, which costs exactly 7. I can pick a dragon of a matching color, so using blue, I'll bring out a blue dragon to this terrain. Dragons don't do anything until the start of the turn, so we will get back to that later. Now for my second march, I'm going to choose my campaign army to march. I would like to maneuver the terrain. The Lava Elves don't like what I did last time, so they're going to oppose. We simultaneously roll for maneuvers. And I think I have enough maneuvers that he will not be able to stop me. this like icon here is kind of like a sail on a ship. It is a move icon, which was never intuitive to me when I first started the game. But now that I understand what they represent, it makes a lot more sense. So the Lava Elves rolled 2 maneuver. The Coral Elves got 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 results. As long as I at least tie, I win the maneuver roll. I definitely more than tied, but I am going to move this terrain up. I'm going to try and bring this toward the 8th phase to control it. Now I get my action, which is going to be Missile. A missile action can be directed directly across or to an adjacent terrain. I want to weaken this army for the upcoming dragon roll, so I'm going to try and shoot his home army with this army. Not a great roll. Looks like I have 4 results coming in against them. If I did not get any results, then they would not roll for any saves. And if I rolled any special action icons that resolve before you told them my results, you'd resolve those before they roll. It's probably not going to matter with these armies, but with other armies that can make a difference with some of the special icons that come up. So they're rolling for saves. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 saves against my 4 results. So they are safe. Now as we get to the end of my turn, we get to the reserve step. Any units I have here in the reserves, I can distribute out to my armies, and any units I have out in the armies, I can retreat to reserves. One unit all by himself is not good, so I'm going to retreat him to reserves. Again, these armies are not strong together, and there's a dragon here, so I'm going to retreat them to reserves as well. Here in the middle, I look pretty strong, but one thing I can do from reserves is cast magic, so I think I might retreat some of my magic users to reserves to try and cast some magic next turn. So I think I have 2 magic users to retreat. Now I'm done with my turn. We go to the Lava Elves' turn. At the start of the turn, there's a dragon at a terrain where they have an army. So the dragon is going to attack them. We roll the dragon. Wings. Wings deal 5 damage, and after the dragon phase, he's going to fly back into the summoning pool. So now the Lava Elves will make a combination roll to both try and slay the dragon and save against the 5 damage. So here it's important to note, I forgot to mention this in the last march, since they're at a terrain with red, maneuvers count as saves. So we've got 2 saves naturally, plus 7 maneuvers, which will count as saves. So we have 9 saves for the Lava Elf army. More than enough to protect against the damage. If they produce 10 melee or 10 missile damage, it'd be enough to slay the dragon. It's not going to make a big difference because the dragon's going to fly away anyways, but it has to be all melee or all missile. You can't combine the 2 together. But it looks like we don't have enough damage to slay the dragon. Dragon flies away, so the Lava Elves are now safe. Looking at what we have, I think they're going to start by maneuvering this terrain up to 3. This looks like a good one for them to take. And they'll try and cast magic here. So they have 5 magic results. So I will bring up the Lava Elves magic sheet. so I had 5 results. Right, thinking ahead a little bit. I want to do a march with this army soon. And they've got a lot of magic users, but not much else of any use. One thing that looks good to me is Necromantic Wave, which, if I can turn this up to a 6, would let them count magic results as melee. That'd be good for their march. But they're still facing a pretty strong army, and I don't know if I'll be able to turn it up to a 6. So I think what I'm going to go with is, for 4 points, Finger of Death. Target any unit and do 1 point of damage to the unit with no save possible. So we will target this unit here, dealing 1 point to it. This unit cannot save, so it goes straight to the dead unit area. I still have 1 point of magic left over, but there's nothing I can cast for 1, so that last magic gets wasted. Now for my second march, I'm going to try and maneuver here. Coral Elves will want to oppose. So we have 2 results to try and maneuver. And right here we've got 3 results from the Coral Elves. And no special action icons, so I'm not going to look at the rest. But there are certainly plenty more maneuver results to prevent the maneuver. Now they can do a missile action, and there's no consequence of doing the missile action, so they will attempt a missile action on the Coral Elves. For 1 result, it probably won't do anything, but we can always get lucky. And we almost did get lucky. We've got 1 save here, but no other saves. So the Coral Elves are safe, no damage. Into the Lava Elves' turn, we go into the reserve step. And now we need to think about what we want to do. We like our army over here at their home. We want to take control of this terrain. We would like to control this terrain as well, but this is a pretty tough army we're facing here, so I might risk it and keep them there. I'm going to try and retreat their Horde army to reserves to try and reinforce next turn. So now we're at the Coral Elves' turn. As I mentioned, first march I'm going to do from the reserves since they can cast magic. We're going to do magic first so we can do support spells to our army at the campaign. And we have 6 magic results. Now, as I bring this up, the army is casting from the reserves. And your spells are limited from the reserves. If you look at the spell sheet, there's an R. Any X's under the R is something you can cast from reserves. So I can cast Windwalk, which increases my maneuver results. Watery Double, which gives me saves. Or, I'm having trouble with my mouse. On the next page, I can cast, with 3 points, a revival spell to revive my dead unit. I like my odds without the Windwalk at this terrain, so I'm going to spend 3 points to revive a 1 health unit, which goes to the casting army. And the other 3 points, I'll spend 2 to cast a Watery Double here at the terrain. Watery Double gives me 1 save until the start of my next turn. So I'm going to put this card here to remind myself that I have Watery Double in effect. My second march, I'm going to try and maneuver at the campaign. Lava Elves, they'll choose not to oppose. So I'll maneuver up. I would like to do another missile result, but that's not an option right now. So I'll do a melee directly across at the army. I do want to point out that there is a possible consequence of this. And this icon is already showing right now. This is a counter special action icon. And counter is something that we'll bring it up here. Almost all the races have it. During an attack, it's 4 melee, but during a save roll, it's a save roll against melee, it's 4 saves and 4 damage directly back at the attacking army. So I am risking a counter from the Lava Elves by making this attack. So I'll make my roll. I got the fairy result again, which might be a good time to make use of it. So let's see what else we have. These maneuvers and range are not going to do anything. I have 4, 8, 9, 10 melee results, which looks really good. So I think I will make use of the fairy roll to move towards my home terrain and try and work towards there. And I conveniently have 4 health worth of units that are not adding to this roll. So I will ferry those units over. Lava Elves will defend against the 10 damage. Unfortunately for me, maneuvers kind of saves. So that's 5, 6, 7 saves. They're still taking 3 damage. They will take it as 3 common units. Now I want to go back to the counter for real quick. As I mentioned, if I rolled that, that'd be 4 saves and 4 damage back to the attacking army. I would not get a roll to save against that 4 damage, but the Watery Double, being a magical protection, I do believe protects against it. Definitely did in the 3 rolls. I'm not certain the 4.0 rules, but I'm pretty sure it protects against it. Now, since this is a melee attack, the defending army gets a chance to counterattack, which I will do right now. They make a melee roll against the attacking army. So counter counts as melee results when rolling for melee, so that's 4 melee coming in against the Coral Elves. So I will roll against 4 damage. And I only have 1 save. Fortunately, I have a Watery Double, that's 1 save, so I have 2 saves, so I'm only taking 2 damage. That's either 2 small units or my uncommon unit. I will choose 2 small units to take the damage. I'm going to choose an archer, since I'm probably not going to be in range combat anytime soon. And I will choose my light infantry unit. Now for my reserve step, I'm going to try and reinforce this terrain heavily so I can try and make sure I get it, especially with those units coming in. Starting to wonder if I should not have ferried all those units over. Actually, I am going to reinforce this unit over here because I can have a turn of shooting with range at the army. So that will be my reserves phase. Now we move into the Lava Elves turn. They could cast magic from the reserves, but these are not magic units, so probably not the best idea. From this terrain, we're uncontested. We need control in 8th phase, so we'll try and maneuver this up uncontested. And then we'll do a ranged attack towards the opposing campaign army. So we roll for missile. We've got 4 results. I should take a look at the Lava Elves other special ability because I know this is going to take effect. And this is a new special ability for me to get used to. Cursed Bullets. When targeting an army at the same terrain with a missile attack, so that's not going to take effect here because it's a different terrain I'm targeting. But if it was the same terrain, missile results inflict damage that may only be reduced by saves generated by spells. So if this were at the same terrain, well, let me continue reading that. Number of missile results affected by this is equal to the number of dead units. So that would have been 3. So 3 of these 4 results would have been something that they could not protect against except by the watery double. That would have been 2 damage no matter what. Since it's at a different terrain, they get to roll for saves normally. And there are no saves, so just the 1 for watery double, so I'm taking 3 damage. Like I mentioned before, the Lava Elves and Coral Elves are not very good at saving. So I'll take 3 health worth of units to perish. That's helping turn things around for the Lava Elves. So their second march, they'll try and maneuver at the campaign, and I will oppose. No results on their side. 3 results on my side. So I have opposed their maneuver. Now they will try and melee attack against me. No results. Since they did not get any results, I don't roll for saves, but I still get the counterattack opportunity, so I will counterattack against them. I have 4 melee results coming in. It's time to really hope they don't roll the counter. Nope. They did not get any saves. They take 4 damage, and they have exactly 4 health worth of units here. So the attack was risky, it did not pay off, but they do have units in reserves to try and recover. So at the end of their turn, they're going to reinforce to the campaign. And looking ahead, these units at their home are not going to do anything except turn this up. And I don't have any way to reinforce them anytime soon. So there's Lava Elves can safely retreat most of these units to the reserves, leaving a couple units behind to turn this up towards the 8th, uncontested. Now, the start of the Coral Elves' turn, the spell we cast, Watery Double, expires. First march, we'll march at home, uncontested, turn up to the 5th, and then we'll do a ranged attack against the campaign army. And this looks like a really good roll. So ID icons, that's 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 results. It definitely looks good for us. Okay, we'll try and defend against 11 damage. And that is awful. They got 0 results. And this is 11 health worth of units, so they all die. I thought things were looking good for the Lava Elves, but apparently not. So now, without any contest, I will turn this up to the 7th phase. I have no army to do a melee attack against, so I have to skip my action. Now I need to plan out my reserves. I see an army coming at me. I think I will stick with how I have my army, because I may need to do a missile attack next turn. So now for the Lava Elves' turn, they're going to maneuver this uncontested to the 5th. They'll do a ranged attack against the campaign. 1 result. So I'm going to save against 1 damage. We got 6 saves, so we are safe. Now the Lava Elf army at home is going to try and cast magic. We got 2 results. Not a whole lot I can do with 2. As a quick rule of thumb, you can't do any offensive or terrain magic from reserves. And I know reviving costs 3, so I'm not even going to look at the spell list. I'm going to end my turn by taking my reserves to the campaign and hoping I can hold my own and take this terrain from the Coral Elves. So now for the Coral Elves' turn, I'm wanting to move this toward the 8th, but if I go up, I can't do a missile attack. So I'm going to keep it on the 5. I'll do a missile attack against the campaign. And that seems like my best option. And it's definitely looking like a good one. That's 4 missile. 5, 6, 7. Plus 4 is 11. 12, 13 results. Looks like I definitely chose an army that's good at missiles. They are saving against 13. Even with maneuvers counting as saves, there's no saving from this. That's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All the units die. So successful. My second march, I will turn this up to the 8th face. So now I control the temple. I like to move this close to the army that took control of it to represent which army is in control. At the 8th face, all ID results I roll are doubled. Also, since this is a temple, my army and units are protected from any black magic, so they can't cast Finger of Death on these units. And at the start of my turn, I choose a player, and that player would pick a unit to bury from their dead, effectively removing it from the game. Now for my action, I can do magic, missile, or melee. I have no one to melee against. This army's not good at magic. And they have a weak army over here that I can shoot with missile, so I will choose missile. 3 results. So the army will defend at their home. And they got 4 results to save, since maneuvers do count as saves for the Lava Elves. So they're safe. That's going to end my turn and go to the Lava Elves' turn. This is actually a good time for the Lava Elf army to concede the match, because it's only a matter of time before they take the 8th face or send units over to take out these last 3 health worth of units. There's just no reasonable chance of recovering for the Lava Elves.